Welcome back to Coffee with Baseload, and I am so happy that I have a new face to introduce you with, the latest employee of Baseload Capital, Veronica Wänman. Welcome.
Thank you, Christina.
So happy to have you. You are our new investment manager for Europe.
Yes.
And we are very happy. You came from actually from Climate before.
Yes.
So you've been on that side, and now you're on the right side?
The other side.
The other side. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good enough.
Yeah.
Good. Welcome to Baseload Capital.
Thank you so much.
If you haven't met Veronica yet, you will, and she will make a mark in your heart.
Oh,
Definitely.
that was very kind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome to Coffee with Baseload. This is your first.
This is my first. Not
Yeah.
the last, maybe?
Not the last, definitely not. Listen, I have a question that we got from one of our followers on social media. They asked us about the EGC, European Congress, that was just recently in Berlin.
Yeah.
And you were there as the first day of
Work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just threw you in there.
Yeah, you just threw me in there. And I
Yeah.
was kind of landing and like, woohoo, what is happening? Because I've been in the geothermal industry since about 2019. But due to the pandemic, this was my first Congress. So I remember asking you, what should I wear? Like, how are people? And
what did I say? They're just so friendly, so you don't have to worry.
no, I didn't have to worry. That is very
Definitely
true.
not.
Yeah.
But we had a very interesting week, and the question we got from the followers were, how was it? What was talked about? What was the feeling? And as you and I were there together, I think that's the perfect question to pose to you and to talk about.
So
What's your feeling? What was it? How was it?
I would say that it was a lot more energetic and positive than I had expected. A lot of engagement. I had planned before that, this is the first week. I'm going to go there. I'm going to learn so many things. I'm going to sit in all of these, sessions, and I'm just going to listen and take notes. And in the end, I only went to the opening session because there was so much networking.
Yeah.
And I think that is what I'm bringing back, that there was so much activity and people talking in between themselves and old friends, new friends, discussing high and low outside. So it was like a huge geothermal networking event.
It was, and it was very successful. I can't even count how many meetings you attended. And we just threw you in there. I was like, this is a meeting. Veronica, Veronica, Veronica.
Yeah, it was a bit like that. And then the last day when, after the big announcement about our new investor, Baker Hughes,
If you haven't seen that yet, you can check it out with our latest press release, where actually Baker Hughes was one of them who invested $24 million so that we can keep on working with geothermal. Yeah.
Exactly. So then after that, I'd also open up multiple meetings. So I recall discussing this with Yamal from Baker, and she said, Veronica, it's closing. Why do you have so many meetings? And it just kept coming. And I thought that was really exciting.
Yeah, it was very exciting.
Yeah.
But let's go back. I know that if we go back to the opening sessions, because I think that leaves a mark a little bit about how the rest of the days were. What was your feeling? I know that you were bringing your little notebook.
I brought my notebook.
Yeah, and you were like ferociously taking notes.
Yeah.
But what was like, if you would try to summarize it, what was the message that they were trying to send?
So I think when I took a lot of notes was listening to the politicians, both EU level and German level, because going there, I had not even thought about Germany as being one of the markets. But the huge crisis in Europe right now really has pushed the politicians, and even saying things like, we have not been smart, or saying we are late to the party but bringing a lot of booze. Like there was really...
Yeah, that was actually a quote. In the beginning he said, sorry, we are late to the party. And in the end they said, but when we are here now, we at least bring a lot of booze. So
exactly.
Signaling that they actually want to come to the party with a lot of power and opening up possibilities, right?
Yes, and to help accelerating even within the geothermal sector and pushing. They're extremely dependent on, or the people of Europe needs an energy transition. So I think that was also one of the big takeaways is, if you just look back 1 year, it was kind of climate change pushing the energy transition. And now you really feel that this is completely different. This is energy security. And where does geothermal come into play in that? And so that was my first, whoa, this is serious.
What was the feeling? Where does geothermal position itself within?
So that was another thing, that the EU has launched something that they call Repower Europe, or Repower EU. And one of the things the German politicians said is that in Germany it's reheat Europe. And district heating is one of the big drivers of fossil fuel emissions in Europe. One of the CO2 emissions comes from fossil fuels used to burn to heat houses, industries, you name it. And actually here geothermal can play a difference. So it's both heating and power, mineral extraction. So geothermal can do many, many things for Europe. And I think that is one of the realizations that, okay, people start to get it, at least on political level. What I miss, that I realized that I would like to discuss more, is how do we impact the public? Because I don't think the public fully understand geothermal yet. And maybe that was one of the things that were not really discussed.
The public meaning the citizens.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
What do you think that they don't understand? Is it too complicated, or what it actually does, or?
Just that there's a possibility to use it.
Okay.
And actually they lifted Sweden as one of the markets where we have a lot of heat pumps. That in Sweden we say bergvärme.
True.
So most people don't know that's geothermal. So just by having a different word, actually we distance ourselves and reduce the size of the market. So that was maybe one of the things that I would have liked to have more discussions about. Like how do we, because there was so much energy, there's so much knowledge in the geothermal industry. There is an oil and gas industry definitely going in, being very enthusiastic on applying their knowledge and experience in geothermal. But we need to be more, and we need to, if you compare to, for example, hydrogen or solar, they are better at marketing. That's why we're here,
That's why we're here. That's why we have coffee with Baseload.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Yeah, true. Whose responsibility do you think it is to market geothermal? Is it the industry or the different companies?
I think at this stage it's basically anyone involved in geothermal, because this is what I wanted to tell you. Now I get down to numbers. Okay. So in Europe currently 0.2% and 0.4% of heating is geothermal.
0.2, 0.4.
It's way too low.
Yes.
Way too low. So that's what I mean with that. Everyone who understands what geothermal is should talk about it. Because if you look at renewable energy, you know this better than anyone, but you have the 24/7, 365 continuous baseload. And that is the beauty of geothermal energy. And the people at this Congress, they know that. They understand that. And they want to drive and make a change. That's why we're passionate. And people you meet are passionate. But in order to really accelerate, we need to get the general public to understand it, to push politicians and also the politicians themselves to drive the industry forward.
So shooting a suggestion now. So if we would take the bits and pieces that were the best, and then we from this EGC, and then we would put it at any other energy conference there was, would that make an impact?
Absolutely. I think that is a good idea. We need to talk to others within the energy market, but we also need, what I really would like to work more with, is how do you get the local community to know that this is actually a resource and not a threat. Like this is something you can bring in to your community. And you have, because the cool thing with geothermal is that you actually harness energy where you're standing. So you're building a stronger local community. And I don't think everyone has embraced it yet. And then one other takeaway from this Congress is that I discussed with, I was at an event for Icelandic companies, and they are, I think, more than 90% of Iceland is heated with geothermal. They also have a huge part of their power production geothermal. And they basically said it was a crisis that took us here. Mm-hmm. So they saw the opportunity in the energy crisis ongoing for a push in change and actually accelerate the rollout of geothermal. And that's really what I hoped for. And my takeaway was, why do we meet in 3 years in Zurich? Why don't we meet in 2 years? Why do we wait?
Next year.
Or next year.
Or
yeah.
Or even more often.
I mean, why wait until 2025?
True.
I didn't get that.
The good thing is that it's a World Geothermal Congress next year.
In China.
Yeah, exactly. So we will be able to speak about it there.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, but I think you're onto something here to conclude a little bit. So if I say that what you took with you from the EGC was that actually the politicians are involved now, they understand it and they see the benefit of it, the importance of speaking to other stakeholders and telling about this and informing and making the community understand the power of it. And then also I understand that it from you that it was, and that was my feeling too, that it was a lot of networking and there's a lot of people are seeking opportunity. It's like there is a great opportunity now and we shouldn't waste it. Was it Churchill who said never waste a good crisis?
Oh, I don't know, but it sounds great.
Yeah. And I think that, yes, we have a problem in Europe right now, but I think that we also have an opportunity to actually make a difference. And I'm going to quote Paul Thompson from Ormat when he said, if you can't make it now in geothermal, you're going to have a problem making it in the future too, because now it's like a booming landscape. There's so much happening. And that's what I felt when we were at the EGC. Yeah. Empowerment.
Yeah, that's a very good one. Yeah. Absolutely. Empowerment and realization that, you know, we need to collaborate. And that's where, you know, the politicians coming in and saying things like, oh, we need to build up data about geothermal in Europe. We need and share that data so we can, you know, speed up the transition. And then they also start to realize we need to do something about permitting. And that's when I get jealous at the ONG sector that has a completely different timeline on permitting versus geothermal. So there are absolutely things out there that can be done and that were discussed. Yeah. They just have to get to it.
Let's get to it.
Yeah.
And you know what more we need to get to?
No.
The fika.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's time to take your bun. And now, of course, everybody's very curious to see the new star on the block. What will she pick for fika? So you have a bunch of choices here. Yeah. You have the healthy bar, you have the cinnamon bun, you have the cardamom bun, you have the chocolate chip cake.
Oh my goodness.
And you even have the nix here, of course.
Yeah.
And the hallongrotta. I'm not going to translate that. So
what
are you going to choose?
Okay, so I have this thing is that I like everything. So I typically never just pick one thing. Okay. So I brought a knife.
What?
Because she
pulls out it from the table. So you're going to take a bite of everything?
So we're going to share because, you know, cinnamon. This one is a classic, but maybe not always the best. But you cannot, so typically I do like this. You split it into 4.
Is that for health or for
No, because then
enjoyment?
Because I also want this one.
So
and then we can take this brownie, you know. So it's very simple.
Okay. A good tip for you are out there, because now I can actually get a little bit of cinnamon and I can get the brownie.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll start with the brownie because
and I start that with cinnamon.
Okay, good. Enjoy. Enjoy, Veronica, and welcome to Baseload.
Thank you.
This one is going to make miracles. So check her out and follow her on social media, of course, as you follow us. If you liked this episode, make sure you subscribe to all our channels, newsletters, and make sure to comment and be a part of the conversation. We need your questions, right? It's difficult to talk when you're eating at the same time.
I'm impressed.
Listen, you, take care of yourself, and if you can, someone else. See you around.
See you.
Det här var